The hosts feel it would be a little unkind to present this podcast without just a word of friendly warning. We are about to unfold the story of Frankenstein, a man of science who sought to create a man after his own image without reckoning upon God. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now's your chance to. Well, we've warned you. Hello, and welcome once again to the Frankencast. I'm the mad scientist, Anthony Bowman. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm joined as always by...
Two dudes playing two other dudes, that is Eric Velasquez. My pronouns are also he, him.
Yeah, so as promised, we were here with the British National Theatre Company's production of Frankenstein.
With both Benedict Cumberbatch and Jonny Lee Miller playing both parts of Victor and the creature, or the monster.
Yeah, and it, like, as I started, you know, we kind of talked about it a little bit last week, that I was like, that's got to be crazy, you know, just having to, like, learn those two entire parts. And when the movie started, I was like, oh, okay, so Victor's not really going to be in this much. So it's kind of like, you're mostly playing the creature, and then there's... But as it goes, Victor becomes more of it, and there's a lot of, like, you know, intense conversations between the two of them and everything. Like, it's impressive that they both were able to do this. And, you know, I think we'll get into, like, what we like, you know, who we preferred for each role and stuff, but, like, I think they both brought different stuff, which was interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I have a preference for sure. I know which version I liked more, but the version that I didn't like, or that I didn't like as much, I still thought was interesting and was, like, offering up slightly different things, even with, you know, all the same dialogue, all the same sets, all the other same actors. I mean, really, it comes down to who's playing the creature. The way that the creature is depicted in the two versions is subtly different, but like, it's absolutely worth seeing both because they're doing such different things.
See, I wouldn't necessarily say that the creature's different because, like, all right, do we want to talk about the differences first, or do we want to go into the whole thing?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Okay,
so in my opinion, I feel like Jonny Lee Miller literally was playing a human child from birth to adulthood, or, you know, maybe even not even adulthood, maybe late or teenage, the teenage years, where young men come into conflict with their father, usually. Now, with Benedict Cumberbatch, or Botch, I don't know. Anyway, Bunny Hun, whatever his name is, he kind of plays... like, it's almost like a creature in a human suit. Right? It's like he might actually be a demon that got somehow summoned and is trying to be human and failing.
Yeah, there's it's like, yeah, I thought Cumberbatch was a little more like, yeah, he was subtle and like, yeah, he doesn't seem human. There seems to be something. He's something else.
There's fundamentally something wrong there.
But he's trying. He's sympathetic. Like, it's not like he's like, you know, pure evil or anything like that. He's just
right.
It's like you said. It's like there's something else in a human suit, but it really wants to be human. Whereas, Jonny Lee Miller, like, his delivery is a lot more like he's yelling a lot more, but it's like a child or like an angry teen. Like, they're just intense, but there is like a little bit more humanity to the role, and so for that reason, I think I liked Cumberbatch as the creature more because I thought I don't know, I felt sorry for him. Like, I felt like he was really trying, and conversely, I thought Jonny Lee Miller was really good as Victor. He seemed like
he wasn't a mad scientist. Like, he was a scientist who had ended up in over his head because he his goals outreached what he was actually, able to handle. Whereas Cumberbatch as Victor felt evil. He felt like he felt like
he was a villain.
Yeah.
Like he felt more. He was definitely more of the monster than Jonny Lee Miller's Victor was, because he, like, his whole thing of like, it's like, no, I don't think he knows what actual love is, and that's why he's mad at the monster. Because it's like, oh no, yeah, exactly. But Jonny Lee Miller's like, oh, I just fucked up. Like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think as far as the creature goes, I think they both were like definitely them like figuring out how to use their bodies and stuff. I think that they both were doing a lot of similar stuff there, and it felt very much like they had like spent a lot of time watching and researching stuff about, like, it seemed like cerebral palsy seemed to be a big, like, the way that they're moving their hands and like the tightness in their muscles and stuff, which I thought was an interest, because of course cerebral palsy is like brain related, it's about the way the brain communicates with the muscles, so it felt like these are all new nerve pathways that are being formed, and it's taking time and everything, so it felt like a really kind of fresh way to kind of portray that like figuring out how to make your body work thing, and it felt like an attempt to explore what that might really look like in a way that I thought was pretty cool.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and of course all the other actors basically did all their things, but yeah, I mean, it was interesting. I guess it is more subtle than I was kind of, because I was looking for it, is probably the issue. It's like, with Jonny Lee Miller, everything was a little bit more fluid. With Cumberbatch, it was a little bit more, like, jerky, but, like, that was the intention, right? Like, they knew what they were doing, and they both did it very well. So, I mean, if you watch either one... Now, I will say mine was the Jonny Lee Miller version.
Oh,
Initially, I was kind of like, I don't know where are we going with this, I was trying to watch it with a critical eye, and I was like, you know what? I get it. I get where he's going. Like, he's growing up.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is I loved both of them, and I do think it's worth seeing both of them. I think that's kind of fun that we preferred different ones, because I mean, neither one of them is bad at all. They're both very good. They're doing slightly different things, and it's just kind of like I don't know, what clicks with you.
Exactly, 100%. So do we want to go ahead and just go into the whole thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so in each version, we're going to start with a bell ringing, which is always a great note to start on, right?
Yeah, I really like that bell becomes like a recurring motif. It kicks off the show here with, like, there's no real explanation for why there's a bell happening to start with, but we'll get it, I think, at least 2 more times, and once is for a good reason and once is for a bad reason. So it's nice that it starts out that way.
Then we get this flesh sale. I mean, womb. I mean,
yeah,
it's a fun little prop.
It opens really strangely. This is a really, like, brave way to start something and just, like, have the audience kind of just sit here, because I mean, it's over 5 minutes. I don't think it's quite 10, but it's a long sequence. We have this, like, fleshy, like, sack in the center of the stage, and we can see, like, silhouetted through it a person inside. And, like, I mean, this thing is, like, stitched together. There's veins running through it. It's
very womb-like.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely. Yeah, and eventually, like, the creature is birthed out of this womb, and, like, falls like face first on the ground, and for a while just kind of, like, twitches. Like, you just see they're, like,
electrical movement, like, or spasms, right?
Yeah. And we'll hear, like, a heart beating, and eventually, it starts to try to, like, crawl, and eventually learns to stand up and falls and gets back up and walks. And, like, the whole time, like, I mean, it's dead silent, or mostly silent. Like, I felt like here again, like, the Miller version, he's like, he's a little more vocal.
Making sounds.
He seems like a child trying to figure this out and kind of getting excited when it's working. Whereas Cumberbatch...
And what really clicked for me with the whole child aspect was when he starts literally chewing on his foot. I'm like, oh, that's baby behavior. Gotcha.
Yeah. Whereas Cumberbatch is like more focused and intent on what he's doing, but like he's still having the same problems, but he's not as like, there's less like personality in the way he's handling the problems.
Right. And it's like he's almost not necessarily getting, like, not remembering, but he knows what to do almost. He doesn't quite, but he kind of does.
Yeah. It almost feels like, last week we talked to Rodney about, like, does the Frankenstein monster ever have memories from before he was the monster?
Right.
And, like, we've had instances where he does or where he doesn't. And here it does. It feels like Jonny Lee Miller is starting, like, a tabula rasa. He's a baby. He's figuring it all out. Whereas, like, Cumberbatch, it feels like he may kind of sort of remember stuff from the past, but he can't quite gel it with what's going on in the present. So, like, he remembers walking, but he can't do it yet, and so he's, like, really focused on it. Yeah, I think that's...
To me, it was almost like something that watched humans do something, and it's like, okay, I know I have to do this, but how do I do this now that I'm in this body? Yeah.
And so, this whole sequence ends with him, like, getting to where he can walk, and he, like... The stage is this big kind of round stage, and they'll do some really cool stuff with it as it goes, but he just kind of runs in a circle around the stage and then goes back to the womb pod thing. And, like, was he, like, feeding off of it in some way? Like, he kind of, like, lays down next to it, and, like, with his face against it, and it felt like... It sounded like there was some, like, kind of, like, slurping noises or something. But this is about when Victor comes in.
Right. And each time Victor freaks out. He's like, oh, crap.
Yeah. It seemed like Jonny Lee Miller as Victor is sort of like he's disgusted seeing his creature, like, oh my god, like, what have I done? Whereas, like, the
Cumberbatch is like, I did it. I kind of did it.
Yeah. And the one other thing about the set that we haven't really talked about that I think is important is above the set, there is this sort of chandelier type thing that is made of, like, thousands of lights hanging down on like, cords of some kind.
Yeah.
And they're various lengths, so it's kind of this really uneven sort of beautiful sculpture of light. And it will, like when the creature was coming out of the womb, it would, like, flash in a way that kind of, like, made it feel like lightning was striking.
Right.
But sometimes the lights would, like, they would, like, do, like, a wave where it would start at one end and kind of flicker across the whole, array of them. And as we go, it seems like it sort of symbolizes the, like, desire to do mad science. Like, as it goes, there's several points where, like, Victor will be like, no, I'm putting that in the past, and then the lights will start flickering, and he's like, well, I don't know, maybe. So I really liked that. It was sort of like, it felt like it was like the spirit of the lightning being like, no, come to me, we're going to do this again. So I really...
Well, even, like, when the creature is laying around in night, it's almost like a... what are they called? Mobile? The thing for the kids.
Mobile. Like that goes over a crib and
exactly. It's almost like a mobile for the creature. Like, So it is almost like its mother to a degree.
Yeah. There's everything about this, like, is just really well thought out as far as, like, it's a play that knows it's a play and is, like, intentionally using the stage and the set to kind of tell the story.
Right.
And we.
Right. Then we get the basically after Frank runs off, we get the Mad Max team, as I call them.
Yeah, this bit was really strange. Like, when it happened, I was like, "Where are we going? What is happening here?"
Yeah. Is the guy supposed to have a scythe, or what's he doing? Because he doesn't have anything, and he acts like he's swinging something.
I think they're supposed to be, like, railroad workers or something. So because we have this thing that comes in that is supposed to symbolize, like, a train engine, I believe.
Yeah.
It, like, rolls in.
Or almost steel workers, but I don't think welding was a thing at this point. Like, not like with an actual gas welder or anything like that.
Yeah, this whole sequence is very steampunk. Everybody has, like, goggles and stuff on. But this thing, like, rolls in, and a bunch of guys jump off of it, and they, like, seem to kind of do some work. And
well, then they all just slap on top hats for no reason and dance around, which is wild.
Yeah, we have one guy who's, like, singing, like, an Irish folk ballad. and they're kind of all dancing. It seems like it's like, a bunch of people doing a day's work and then like, relaxing afterwards and like, singing songs and dancing.
Would you say blowing off steam?
And then we have a woman who's obviously a sex worker, who like
getting assaulted.
Yeah, like the man like doesn't want to pay or something, and like he's like she's trying to get away and he won't let her go. But then the creature kind of comes out of the shadows. He's in like a cloak at this point, and like kind of basically the guy, the guy that's trying to do the assault is like, oh, I'm being witnessed, so he runs off. Like there's no actual like fight or confrontation or whatever, but obviously the girl is very thankful that he has scared her attacker away.
And she's like, hey, I'll take care of you, buddy, after the fact. And tries to take the cloak off him and is like, maybe not so much anymore.
Yeah, and she runs off. And then we have like the workers also seeing him, and they also want nothing to do with this monstrous creature. And we get like some preaching here. There's like one of the guys starts like he's like turn to Christ and cast out the fiend Satan. And so it seems like he's like being sort of like shunned by society pretty much right away here. And then we get like a really sort of beautiful sequence that like kind of comes out of nowhere right after that. We have this sort of like grimy steampunk train and all this stuff, and then suddenly there's like this beautiful music and like a sunrise. There's like a projected sun on the edge of the stage, and it's
like the sun greets the creature.
Yeah, and he seems like there's almost like an angelic choir playing, and he's like in awe. And then like we have birds that are like projected like flying up above, and he's sort of amazed.
Strip of grass.
Yeah, the strip of grass I thought was really neat. Like it's like real. It seems to be real grass, like in a couple little like planter boxes run across the stage. And yeah, so he's like in awe of the birds and the sounds and the sun, and he touches the grass and he tries to eat some of the grass, and it rains, and he's just amazed by the water coming from the sky. And like it just feels like after being sort of cast out by people, he's like, no, life is a gift. Like this is all this beauty in the world touching him. Like even if humans don't want anything to do with him, like there's more to life than just that human connection. Obviously, this is the monster is always in need of a human connection, but I did like that he's given something to live for pretty much right away here.
Right, and also in both cases, he finds the journal in the pocket of the cloak, or jacket, or whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, we get that ominous little note to let us know things are going to go south later.
Yeah, and it's fun, like he doesn't know what to do with it. I don't know if
Noms on it.
Yeah, he tries to chew on it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I did note, like, even at this point, the Cumberbatch creature is starting to like make noises, like grunts and stuff. But the Jonny Lee Miller one has already been doing that and is now like almost to
laughing.
baby talk. Like he's like he's saying he is saying things that you can't understand, but like you can tell that he's trying to say things. He's not just grunting. Like there's like patterns to his noise, So it does, again, feels like a child that's like figuring this stuff out.
Right. Trying to join in on the conversation, but doesn't, can't make the words. So it's like, oh, you're saying something. I don't know what it is, but it's something.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so then the next thing we see is like two sort of like, it's like hobo type guys. Like they're just kind of like traveling beggars or just like, guys looking for work on the rails and everything. And they're at a campfire heating up like a rabbit that they've found or whatever, and talking about.
We could talk of people being scared in Ingolstadt.
Yeah, it sounds like they maybe arrived at a train station and kind of went separate ways to just see what they could find, what was worth taking or worth trying to work for or whatever. And yeah, the guy was like, Ingolstadt, I could get nothing there. Everybody's scared. No one wants to talk to me.
But in Augsburg, we could get some bread because I know the wife of a baker who's very welcoming. Oh, okay.
Yeah. At that point, that's when the creature stumbles in and kind of scares the men away. I feel like, we often have this scene, and it's usually Romani people, and I think it's kind of interesting that they, like, distinctly, these guys are not, like, Romani-type guys at all. I feel like it's definitely more like they're, like, the guys riding the rails is what that is.
Yeah, there's definitively no Romani people in this.
Yeah.
Which might be a good thing.
Yeah, considering the way they're usually portrayed in these, I think it's probably better to just kind of, like, skip that if you can.
Yeah, let them rest.
Yeah.
Let them, sit this one out, I guess.
Yeah. So we get a bit here where the monster tries to eat their food. He burns himself on the hot pan, but eventually is able to eat a little bit. And then the fire dies down, and he tries to go to sleep, and that's when the men return and just beat him mercilessly to take their stuff back.
That's rough.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he's had some bad run-ins with people already, but like this one is sort of understandable. Like if these guys want their stuff back, and they feel like this man, they don't know his situation, but they know he basically scared them off and tried to take their stuff. So they're coming back for revenge, sort of.
Right.
They leave him, and we cut away, or not cut away, but the other side of the stage.
It goes dark, and then we get everything dropped, and it's the cabin of the DeLacy family.
Mm-hmm. And again, great set work. This cabin's really cool because it's obviously a cabin, but it's also like sort of translucent in a way that we can like have scenes inside the cabin, and we can see what's going on. Like they can change the lighting to make it see-through or not.
Right. It's both shut off, but also not, because like all the sides are enclosed. However, the one side facing the audience is as you said, translucent. It's mesh that you can easily see through. Yeah.
So in this version, we will we'll find out that Felix and Agatha are a married couple,
not brother and sister.
Yeah.
But this is ye olde days, so is it really that far off? But anyway,
I think this is definitely them trying to simplify, not needing so many characters here.
Yeah, we don't need to introduce Safi in this version.
Yeah, so Felix is the son of Old Man DeLacy, and they this whole section is sort of like dreamlike in the timeline, because I kind of had trouble. So they go out to work in the fields, and then we'll kind of cut back and forth between seeing them out in the fields and seeing.
Well, we'll learn that none of them are farmers to begin with.
Mm-hmm. They're trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Right, but it's almost like they're like, wow, we really are figuring out this farming thing, when it's the creature helping them in between scenes.
Yeah. So I think, because at first I was like, have they traveled away and they're just gone for a while? But no, I think they're coming back every night. Like the fields are near the cabin, and they're coming back every night. And we're just getting sort of like time skips where like the monster's with Old Man DeLacy, and then the monster's out hiding somewhere when Felix and Agatha are around. Right. And it just kind of goes back and forth.
And the monster approaches DeLacy when they go out for the first time, and he's getting ready to strum some badass song. Like it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I thought this was nice too, because in the book he's playing a guitar, and I think in most versions he ends up playing a violin, or sometimes some kind of wind instrument of some sort. But I think because probably people nowadays think of a guitar is a modern thing, so it feels anachronistic. But no, guitars have been around for a long time.
In some form or another, for sure.
And it really works here, especially there will be a bit later where it's amazing the way that they use the guitar. But yeah, so that of course he plays a little bit. This is when the creature kind of gets drawn in, as we're used to. But I did appreciate, often the blind man is just instantly like, "Come in, friend. I trust everybody. I'm,
right,
just completely credulous and just welcoming all the time." But here he's like, "Who are you?
Hey, just take the food.
Yeah,
take the food and leave.
Don't hurt me. We don't have anything. You can take all the food. All I have otherwise, there's a couple books. I don't think you'd want them, but if you do, take them. Just don't hurt me."
Right.
And he even. So this is set during a war, but it's kind of unclear.
I feel like it's one of the first one was during the Revolutionary War, right? That's when that one was set. Or the actual book. I'm set first one. Wow. The book was set kind of at the tail end of the first part of the Revolutionary War.
Okay. Because he says something about, like, if you're a soldier, I don't fight on either side. I'm not interested. Right. Like, I have no loyalties there. And a little later, he'll even say that, like, he used to, he had some kind of, like, he had a shop that, he
was a teacher. It was his university.
Yeah, and his university was, like, ransacked by soldiers.
Right, and he was blinded by a cannonball.
Yeah, and this is when his family had to relocate and try to figure out how to be farmers. So, like, they've definitely been shaken up by the war happening.
Right, but the creature doesn't want to hear all that. He wants to hear that guitar. So he hands him the guitar and says, "Piss off." Which I thought was funny because that's what the other people were telling him when they were beating him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they kept saying, "Piss off, booger off," and that's what he says to him. And the blind man's like, "What?" And he's hands him the guitar and he's like, "Oh, okay, I see. You don't know many words." And, like, I think it was a funny little joke. Like, the audience laughed and everything, but I think the blind man really quickly realizes, oh, this man has suffered. This is the only words he knows because it's the only words that have ever been said to him. And so I think that sort of, like, warms him up to the creature.
Right.
And he immediately is like, "Oh, you want to hear say music, say music," and the creature kind of tries and, doesn't really, doesn't get it out well, but kind of sort of gets it out.
Right, but as you mentioned, then we go to a scene of Agatha being like, "Wow, all the stones that were in the field are gone now. That's amazing."
Yeah, it's incredible. We're doing great. We're crushing this farming thing.
Yeah.
And then we have, like, back with the blind man and the creature. He's still teaching him. He teaches him the word
paradise.
Paradise, yeah.
I was expecting someone to say lost at the end of that.
Yeah, it definitely felt like a nod to that. But it really, I really liked the way that this, the creature, they do, like, para, he, like, does the whole thing, sounds it out. He says the word paradise. And then the blind man tries to touch the creature's face and head, and he kind of, like, jumps back a little bit.
Whoa.
He's like, no, it's okay. It's just, this is how I see. And so the creature lets him touch his face, and when he, obviously feels that he's, burned and scarred and in really bad shape, he says, "Oh, you have been in the wars."
Yeah.
And then he says,
so that explains that.
"What about your family? Do you have a mother and a father? Where are they?"
No idea.
And he says, "Paradise."
Yeah.
So I think, the blind man, of course, is like, "Oh, your parents have died. You're an orphan." And then I think we have, like, we
have a discussion about how people hate him. And the funny thing is, like, they talk about kings and emperors, and, the creature's like, "I might be a king." Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, that was, like, really good. So, because they're talking about moral, like, that, like, some people believe in the concept of original sin, that as soon as you're born, you have sin, that it's just part of humanity. And other people believe that it's a product of social forces, and God has nothing to do with how a person turns out. It's your situation.
And DeLacy's like, "I believe in the second one, for sure."
And the creature's like, "Well, then why? I don't do bad things, so why do I suffer? Why am I hungry?" And he's like, "Well, it's the condition of man to be hungry." And he's like, not for emperors and kings. They do just fine." Yeah. And then the Lacey's like, "You're learning fast. Like, I think we're getting, like, a socialist creature here."
Right.
He's like, "This is not fair."
It's like whenever you're born and not raised into that society, it's just, you see the inherent flaws, right?
Yeah. But yeah, so this was, like, one of the first, like, scenes that I was just like really, really, like, getting a sense for the creature and, like, what he believes. Like, he talks about that he doesn't have a name. No one ever gave him one. People hate him, and everywhere he goes, people throw stones at him, and Lacey's like, a lot of people are good. Most people are good, but, like, they're uneducated, they're afraid, they're trying to protect their own lives and livelihoods.
Right.
But, Felix and Agatha, they would love you. Like, they would understand. Like, just let me introduce.
Right.
then you can be part of our family. And the creature's like, no, they would hate me. And so he runs off. And this whole scene is taking place as it's snowing, and the creature's like in awe of the snow, and it's just really again, they're like making it actually snow. It's pretty beautiful. So yeah, he runs off. And then again later, Felix and Agatha are amazed that now like they find a bunch of
all these
wood.
Sticks. Yeah, all this wood.
Yeah, and it
was so easy.
There's a basket with a couple dead rabbits and dead birds that have already had the feathers plucked and everything. We're gonna eat well for a while.
Right. Now apparently DeLacy. This is where DeLacy fails because immediately. Felix is like, oh yeah, it must be the fairies doing this for us. Versus like, no, there's another being out there doing this for us.
Yeah, like, in the book they kind of like, they jokingly talk about the spirit of the force, but I don't think any of them believe it's a magic spirit. Like, it's just what they call this kindness that's happening.
Right, now I think this Felix does believe in that.
Yeah, but Agatha is like, I think it's just us. I think our love just makes magic happen, and this is when she reveals to him that she is pregnant. So
it would be awful if something were to happen to the baby.
God, yeah. So we go back to the creature on a walk with DeLacy, and it's springtime. Like we're seeing that this is taking place over time. We had like the snow, and now we've got spring. So like we're getting a whole round of the seasons. And DeLacy's like, "Oh, we should head back. It's getting dark." And the creature's
how do you know it's getting dark?
Yeah, you have no eyes. And he's like, I can hear the nightingales. Don't you hear that bird? And he's like, you're saying these birds make it dark outside? That doesn't make any sense. And he's like, no. You read Milton, right? And he's like, well, yeah, of course. So then the creature like quotes this extended passage from Paradise Lost, which again is like, I thought this was beautiful in the way that they like, the creature's like doing this whole speech from the play, and but he can't speak as eloquently as as you or I, but there's still a lot of like pathos in the way that he's giving this recitation. So yeah, I thought that really worked. And like I think the last little bit of it is like something about the moon, and he's like, yes, moon in the Garden of Eden.
It's solitary and sad, like me.
Yeah. And the creature's like, I don't understand. Like every single thing I've had to learn, I've had to work hard to figure these things out. Nothing makes sense to me. Everything is foreign to me. But you just like get it. Like you just understand everything around you. Every answer I find just brings up a bunch more questions. Who am I? Where am I from? What does all this mean? And DeLacy's like, you'll get it. Like, it just takes time. But like, as far as your family goes, like, you have a family here. Just let me introduce you to mine, and you can be part of it.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. And they get into like, more sort of moral philosophy stuff where he's like, I've moved on from Paradise Lost. I'm reading Plutarch's Lives of the Emperors.
Right.
Why do people gather
about
together?
Cities.
Yeah, there's cities. What is the point of this? And he's, DeLacy's like, well, we gather together to take care of each other. We do good.
Right.
But
you massacre each other. You kill each other.
And he's like,
I don't like that inconsistency.
yeah. This becomes one of the through lines. Like, DeLacy's like, yeah, it's a little inconsistent. And he's like, no, I don't like that. And we'll see that the creature, he
does not like inconsistency.
Yeah, which I think we've talked about this many times over, but like there's certain aspects of the creature that feel very autistic, and I think this is he's like, no, things have to make sense. Like inconsistency does not fit with my worldview.
Right.
And he's frustrated about the whole thing. And this is when I think this is when DeLacy's like, I am also poor like you, and this is why, like, my university was ransacked. But someday, like, even though I have no money, like, I've got a family. I'm very happy. And someday I think you'll find someone who will make you the richest man in the world. Like, you'll find a wife. Right. You'll find someone who will love you.
Creature's like, I'm not so sure about that. We'll see.
Yeah. But love comes to good men, and you are a good man. And the creature's like, I don't, but what is love? And then we get...
Baby, don't hurt me.
And then we get this incredible... absolutely beautiful dream sequence And, that's coming from me, which I know I've said several times over the course of the podcast. I hate dream sequences. I think they're almost always unnecessary. They're usually lazy writing where a writer is like, here's some metaphors that I don't have to justify. I can dump it into a dream sequence and I don't have to try to like make anything make sense. But here,
I get to be lazy at this point.
Yeah,
but this is interpretive dance version of that. So
yeah, this is the creature imagining what love could be like. Who could possibly love him? And we have a beautiful female monster, but like still very monstrous. She has a shaved head like he does, and like all kinds of scars across her face and her head, and she's wearing like a sackcloth, tunic or whatever. Like she's not. She looks like him. She's not the bride from the Bride of Frankenstein. She's not, like glamorous in any way. But they
and it's like every time they touch, they electrocute each other.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's this very tentative thing where like they're moving in tandem and like touching and then stepping away, and it's just. I was very moved by this scene. I thought it was really, really well done. And the thing that really makes it work is. DeLacy is back in the cabin while this scene is happening, and the actor playing DeLacy is actually playing guitar there on the stage for the dance sequence. And like up to this point, he's been playing sort of like Spanish style finger plucked guitar, and it's very like just little notes and nothing. But here he's like the like really intense Spanish guitar, the like the heavy strumming that's really thick and powerful. That's what he's doing to kind of like accompany their dancing, and it just really, really worked for me. And I think when that scene ends, we have the creature again talking to DeLacy about like the bits of memory that he has, and like the last thing his first memories are like running from a building and it was dark and he was afraid and he doesn't remember anything before that. And this is
but he's like, hey, I also found this journal here, and he starts reading out of it, and DeLacy's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is really impressive that DeLacy's been able to teach him to read, because DeLacy is blind. So, he's reading bits of it, and he's like, so it says, this is the journals of Victor Frankenstein, citizen of Geneva, but the events taking place in the journal were in Ingolstadt. And so he reads a bit of it that's like is like I'm going to try to create a being like me, and DeLacy's like, is he was trying to make a man? Are you that man? Like, is this what's happening? They're like, well, we're gonna have to keep reading to figure out where he might be. Maybe we can figure something out.
But Felix and Agatha are coming, and DeLacy's like, oh, yeah, you got to stay now. They're almost here. So I'm going to introduce you guys.
Yeah, and, like, again, the creature is nervous about this, and he's like, please, I haven't steered you wrong. Just trust me. I know them. They're my family. I trust them. And through your trust of me, you should trust them, too. It'll be okay. So... Then Felix and Agatha appear, and I really appreciate, we've had the creature sort of like, grunting and kind of having baby talk, and then moving into like being, very articulate with DeLacy as he's learned to speak. But suddenly around new people, he's uncomfortable, and he kind of like falls back into almost like a nonverbal thing where he's like, he kind of bows to introduce himself and is like kind of stuttering as I think he says like please to make your acquaintance or something, but it's very like halting and awkward and everything.
Agatha does not like this, and Felix says this will not do. Mm-hmm. So, it's I feel like at this point DeLacy should be like, Felix, shut the fuck up. He's a friend.
Yeah, but things get out of hand so quickly. Like Agatha screams and Felix starts yelling. He grabs a stick and he's like, get out of here, you beast, you devil. And the monster...
But I feel like this also is like, this demonstrates how ineffective DeLacy was with the soldiers, because he also can't control Felix's responses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he's calling out, trying to calm the situation down, but there's no luck. The monster is running, he's yelling, but you promise, and it's really heartbreaking.
DeLacy says, "What have I done? What have I done?"
Yeah. And, like, I think, Felix says something about, like, it was a monster. And he's like, no man is a monster. And,
right.
yeah, so, everything falls apart here, as it has to, unfortunately.
Right.
And
then, of course, what does the monster do but say, what did the heroes of old do? What did the Romans do? They used to plot and revenge. So,
yeah.
Guess what?
Yep. And
yeah, which is interesting if you think about it. Like, the individuals we call heroes, like, in the past, most assuredly would not be considered heroes today.
Yeah, I mean, like, we idealize violence in the past for sure. Meanwhile,
and betrayal and such.
Yeah, and like, today, even like the people we agree with, we often have all these, pundits on either side being like, well, you should protest not, non-violently. Like, that's the only thing. There's like, there's when we look at the past, everything's sort of rose-colored glasses, and we can kind of like idealize the violence because it got us what we wanted in the present. But like, here in the present, we people have a hard time seeing that sometimes it takes violence again. And of course, here, the DeLacy, obviously, old man DeLacy certainly doesn't deserve violence, and there may have been some other route, but nope, this is what has to happen here for, because of what this story is. The creature burns the cabin down with the DeLacys inside, and again, this is done so well. Like, he picks up a torch, and like, there's like a grate on the stage that fire can come out of. This is the same.
Right.
This is where he had the campfire that the hobo men had left before, and so he lights his torch on that fire, and then he like walks around the cabin, kind of dragging it on the ground. Obviously, he can't really touch the cabin because it's really made of fabric and stuff.
Right.
But the lights start flickering red and orange onto the cabin as it's going. So like, it really sells that like he's burning this cabin down, and we see the silhouettes of the DeLacys inside as they're screaming. It's really affecting. It's well done.
Basically trapped inside, which that sucks. But also, you kind of did it to yourself, Felix. So I got no sympathy for you.
Yeah. And so as the fires, or as that like all goes dark, and again, this because of this, the way that this is all like just well orchestrated, we have like that section of the stage go dark. You can kind of see in the background the cabin being like lifted up off the stage on on pulleys or whatever.
Other actors moving things into place. Yeah,
and we have this little scene going on in the foreground to kind of like distract from all the work being done in the background. And it's like we have like 3 adult women and 2 young boys, and they seem to be like playing a game of hide and seek.
Right.
And that little scene sort of spreads into the rest of the stage as we see that the things that have been laid out are like docks. We're at Lake Geneva. This is the Frankenstein family. I guess the kids are William and Ernest, even though like they're around the same age, and obviously Ernest is somewhere.
We're never going to hear Ernest's name. we got no reason. Damn it, they're doing that again, Anthony. Ernest Erasure. Yeah. Come on. But anyway, no, but we will also see Elizabeth. So there is a Justine, but not really.
Yeah,
like, she's under a different name.
Yeah, her name's Clarice, I think.
Yeah.
The sort of like main servant woman that we'll have. Yeah. And yeah, so we'll have the hide and seek thing. Everybody else runs off. We have William left behind counting.
Blindfolded on the edge of the docks. Oh boy.
Yeah. So, of course, that's when the creature approaches him, and like comes up right behind him, and he's like, "Don't turn around. I want to talk to you. Where are we?" And he says, "Near Geneva." And he's like, "Who are you? Are you a friend of the family?" And the creature says, "Yes."
Kinda.
Yeah.
What family are you from?
Yeah, he's like, "Well, if you're a friend of my family, you must be a judge or something like that." And he's like, "Yeah, that's definitely." And so he gets the boy's name as William, And he's
like, hey, William, we'll go play up on the cliffs here, but can you tell me where this guy named Victor Frankenstein lives?
Mm-hmm. He says, like, I'm looking for a man called Frankenstein. And at this point, he picks William up and puts him on his shoulder, so William still can't see him, but, like,
right.
He has a hold of him, and he's like, I'm looking for a man named Frankenstein.
That's my name.
Yeah, and he's like, wait, Victor Frankenstein's your father? And he's like, no, he's my older brother. And he's like, okay, that's great. I need to talk to Victor. We can all be friends.
You have to take me to him.
Yeah. So, William is like, no, I wouldn't. You're a monster. I'm not going to do that. And so he ends up dragging William away. Of course,
he's like, oh, you will. Mm-hmm. You will tell him. You'll bring him to me.
Yeah. And so, once he's gone off the stage, we have, like, people running around on the docks. It's a search party looking for the missing William. And this is when Victor arrives back in, shows back up in our narrative. And, their father is like, you need to go back to the house. You're too agitated. You're going to make things worse. We need people focused on the search.
Right. And then, of course, that's when a boat comes sailing in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like a rowboat, and it's coming up towards the dock, and they're like, that's going against the current. How is that possible? What is happening?
Right.
And inside the boat, of course, they find William dead. And, so this is, again, like, they're like, Victor is frustrated, he's upset, he starts yelling at Elizabeth, saying, like, you shouldn't have let him out of your sight, and she's like, we were playing hide and seek, that's the whole point.
Yeah, how could I not?
Yeah. And this is when we Clarice, the servant girl, says, people in the town are saying that there's a monster up in the hills.
A monster, you say, comes from Victor. Mm-hmm. And also, the father's like, hey, there are these pages, Elizabeth finds the pages. Mm-hmm. These seem to be the pages of Journal of Victor Frankenstein? What's that?
Yeah, everybody else, like, goes off to, like, deal with William. I believe this is, the father's like, ring the bell, my son is dead. So This is when we get another bell. But while they're all gone, this is when Elizabeth sees in the boat that, there's these pages. She's like, this is your handwriting, Victor. And when he looks at it, he's like, this is pages from my journal. I lost this back in Ingolstadt. So, he obviously is putting the pieces together at this point. He knows that his creature is back.
Right.
And
so when the bell rings, that's when he basically has tracked down the creature in the mountains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We get this, like, the bell rings and, like, the stage changes and everything. We get this really intense sort of industrial music happening in the background. It kind of reminded me of, like, Tom Waits. And we have Victor calling out to the monster, and we're on this cool glacier set where there's, like, all these, like, steel rods that the creature's able to, like, climb around and slide down them and stuff, and really, like, in the novel we have this graceful creature that runs up cliff sides and all this stuff, and I think this kind of is a really good way to sort of interpret that in a way that can be recreated on a stage.
Right. And then both Benedict, Jonny Lee Miller's 50-something right now? Or like at the time?
Yeah.
And, Benedict Cumberbatch is not too far off of that. Mm-hmm. Let me check. I just have to know. This is for my own pride, I guess. So yeah, he's 48 right now. So he would have been 43 years old. Mm-hmm. Both of them basically, like, slide down the rails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks really cool.
Good for them.
It's well done. Yeah. So this feels like the sort of the centerpiece of the film, where we have Victor and the monster together, and Victor is in awe. Like, he hasn't seen his monster in so long, and he's like, "Wow, you can." Your sutures have healed. Look at your coordination; it's improved so much. And,
right. You're ugly as sin, but like, other than that, you're, like, amazing.
Yeah.
I did such a good job. Go me.
And of course the creature's like, but you ran away, you abandoned me. And he's like, oh, and it can speak. And he's like, yeah, I can speak.
Yeah, you built a man and gave him life. What do you, of course he's going to speak at some point.
Yeah, and the creature tosses him his journal, and he's
now,
like...
did you know each of their flourishes? Like, with John, I don't know why this was, like, something to me, but, like, Jonny Lee Miller, like, throws it with a flick of his wrist, whereas, like, Cumberbatch's, like, his toss is just, like, they're both graceful in their own little ways, but it's, like, the eeriness of Cumberbatch's movement versus like the fluidity of Jonny Lee Miller's like throw. It's like, oh, that's good stuff right there. That's all right.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like because we have both of them interacting here, I think this is when we really can see. Like, I watched this scene, like one version and then the other back to back, just like by itself, and yeah, it's like, as you were saying, like, Jonny Lee Miller feels like he's like a teenager who's mad at his parents for being bad parents, and so he's kind of yelling, and Cumberbatch's Victor is sort of like snide and like above it all, whereas the Cumberbatch
I did it to prove that I could, basically. That's it.
And the Cumberbatch creature is just like seething, like just really angry at the way that everything's played out, and you feel like the Miller version of Victor, there's a little bit more like empathy to him, where he's sort of apologetic. He does sort of realize that he has done this creation wrong. But at the same time, he's like, why'd you abandon me? You made me and then left me. And he's like, yeah, but you're a killer. Like, I have to put a stop to this.
He's like, I read Paradise Lost. And what is it that Victor says usually in that case? I forget exactly the phrase, but he's like, I actually identify with Satan more than anything else.
Yeah, because he's like, I'm surprised you know Milton. And he's like, oh yeah, I liked it. And he's like, oh, I'm sure you just like saw yourself as Adam as you read it. And he's like, no.
Oh yeah, that's right.
No, I didn't see myself as Adam. God was proud of Adam, but Satan, he was driven out and he did no wrong, and that I can empathize with that.
Right. Now, going back to what you were saying with Miller, once again, that's like a kind of an edgy teen being angry at dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Whereas with Cumberbatch, it's like, oh, he might be Satan. That might have been a thing that happened to him.
Yeah. There's definitely. It's like a calmer rage, Miller, everything's kind of on the surface. Like it doesn't feel unpredictable. You can tell exactly how mad he is and how he's feeling in the moment. Whereas, the Cumberbatch creature is more like there's some internal stuff going on that you're not, you're kind of left wondering, what's really going on here.
Exactly.
But of course,
cast out despite being given life.
Yeah. And Victor's like, why did you kill my brother? Like, I don't understand.
If I burned the entirety of Ingolstadt, would you have come?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, I wanted to see you, and here you are. It worked. Like,
he knew how to bring him, and he did.
Yeah. At this point, like, surprisingly, like, Victor does sort of like soften a little bit, which is wild considering what he's just heard him say. Because he says...
I killed your brother.
Yeah, he says, has no one showed you kindness? And the creature's like, well, there was a man, who taught me many things. I spent a year with him, and when I was 1 year old, he told me that his family would take me in. And Victor's like, oh, well, what happened? And he's like, you know what happened.
Right, yeah. He's like, come on, let's be real. Do I need to tell you what happened? No.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I do, but he's still like, it's funny. He's like, you don't really want to know, and he's like, you're right, I understand where you're going here, and then he still says it. He's like, I burned them in a fire. Like, now that I know you don't want to know, I'm gonna tell you.
Exactly, that's driving that little dagger in there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but then he's like, all right, so here's the deal. I want another of my own kind. I need a lady. I've been dreaming about a girl.
Yeah. someone as deformed and horrible as me. And Victor's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not. You don't have rights. You're a thing that I made.
Right.
Torture me as much as you like. I'm not doing it.
With Cumberbatch is like he's like definitely establishing, I am your master. You will do as I say, and I don't know. It rang a little bit more like Miller was trying to gain control versus Benedict Cumberbatch's I have control already.
Yeah. But and again, like that's what's so really cool about this is like every line of dialogue is the same. Like if you get your hands on both of these, it's really cool to just like go to the same moment and see one say a sentence and then watch the other one say it and be like, wow, they're delivering just that sentence in a completely different way.
After a year had gone by, after he had described to me the seasons and I'd watched them go round 1, 2, 3, 4, when I was 1 year old, he said they would take me in. The son and his wife, beautiful wife.
What happened?
You know what happened.
Oh, God, I do.
I burned them in a fire.
I'm sorry.
Sorry?
After a year, after he'd described to me the seasons and I'd watched them go round 1, 2, 3, 4. When I was 1 year old, he said they'd take me in, the son and his wife, the beautiful wife.
What happened?
You know what happened.
God, I do.
I burned them in a fire.
I am sorry.
You're sorry.
And so like every line of dialogue can kind of have different meanings based on just punctuating it differently. It's really kind of a masterclass in what an actor's doing. They're not just reading a page and giving you the only thing that they could possibly give. Like there's so much work that they're putting in.
Right.
And
honestly, like Jonny Lee Miller should be better celebrated than he is, because like don't get me wrong, Cumberbatch he has a more dramatic stage presence, and honestly, if you looked at Jonny Lee Miller, he's just kind of a guy, but also he's a guy who's really good at acting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're both really putting a lot into this.
Maybe I'm just a fan of hackers that much. I'm glazing this guy. But yeah.
But yeah, like Victor's like, torture me all you want, I'm not going to do it. And he's like, no, I'm not here to torture you. I'm trying to show you that I'm capable of reason. I want to reason with you and convince you that this is the best thing.
You create another me, we go to South America, we live in peace. We leave you alone. That's great.
But Victor is like, no, I'm not going to reason with the killer. And he's like, but you just told me you wanted to kill me.
Yeah.
How is...
We're the same.
Yeah. We both kill to get what we want.
Your logic is flawed and inconsistent, and that is infuriating.
Yeah. Victor keeps refusing, and like he loses his cool and says like, he's like, if you don't do this, I will make you my enemy. I will work at your destruction. I will not rest until I desolate your heart.
Right. Hell yeah. That's a threat right there.
And then like right away he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I got a little carried away. Let's get back to the reason. Let's reason with each other here.
Right. Once again, with Jonny Lee Miller, child, with Cumberbatch, like actual Satan, possibly.
Yeah. This scene feels very organic, where it's like Victor, they give it time to breathe, where like you do feel like Victor is processing everything that's being said to him, and like having to like reckon with what he's done and decide what the right thing to do is. It feels very earned. Like by the time he gets to the end where he's like, okay, I'll do it, you feel like he's gone on a journey and gotten there.
Right. Well, but it's also a different kind of journey, because once again with Cumberbatch, it was like, it'd be really cool if I did this to make this woman. Like I could do that. I could make it better than the guy, right? More perfect. Whereas Miller is like, all right, I guess I probably should try to work on my mistakes a little bit.
Yeah, I think that like the key bit that like is like, he's like, yeah, you were a puzzle, you were an equation I was solving. I wasn't really like thinking of you as like
As
a sentient person. And he's like, yeah, you didn't think I was gonna have feelings,
Right.
And like the way that Victor and the creature both deliver those lines in the two versions, like it's like you said, like it's Victor is in one version is like, oh wow, I didn't think about that, I'm sorry, yes, of course you have feelings, and the other one is like, these feelings are incredibly inconvenient, that I didn't think about it because I didn't want that to be the case, and now this is
I was hoping you would be like me and be a sociopath.
Yeah. And in both, the sort of like capper to the end is where he's like, I promise if you do this, you'll never see me again. As long as the world goes round, I will be away.
Right.
And he's like, oh, you think the world goes round? And he's like, yeah, of course. And it's like, they're kind of like buddies about like, yeah, we get science. We're smart guys. We know what's up. There's a little bit of like, Victor's like, wow, okay, I made a good monster who like understands the way the heavens work. I did a good job there.
Right. But yeah, and of course he's like, you know what, I'll do it. It'll happen. And of course the creature's like, I'm ecstatic in both versions.
Yeah, he's like, you are the king of science. You can do it. I believe in you. It's going to be great.
Right. Yeah, just don't, whatever you do, don't betray me at all.
Yeah.
And go home and do what you have to do.
And yeah, he's like, well, I know I can't do that at home. Of course, I'm going to have to like go elsewhere. And he's like, all right, go where you got to go. I'll follow you. I'll be there. I'll be watching.
Right, but I'll be watching. Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
Yeah, and so they seal the deal. Victor wants to shake hands, and the creature's like, what's this? And he's like, this is how you seal
a bond
the deal.
of trust.
Yeah, and I don't know, the way this is played, I thought was really good, and like both versions are a little different and everything. But once the creature says I'll be watching, he like disappears, and we just have Victor alone on the stage for a minute, and he looks down at the hand that he just shook the creature's hand with.
What did I do?
There's this sense of like, oh no, there's already blood on my hands because he killed my brother, and I'm probably I could be opening up something much worse. Who knows? So we cut to, or like we have a big stage transition. We're back at the Frankenstein Manor. We have servants bringing in mail to the Baron, and it's condolence letters about William's death. So like not much time has passed here.
And he's like, oh hey Dad, I'm gonna leave now, but also give Elizabeth this letter. Yeah,
he's basically his father's like, no, William's funeral is in like a day or two. Like, what do you mean you're leaving? What about William? And he's like, well, William's not coming with me. Yeah. He's like, I forbid it. You're not going. And he's like, I'm not asking your permission. I'm doing it. I'm just telling you that I'm going.
Right.
And
what about Elizabeth?
Yeah, what about Elizabeth? What about the wedding? And he's like, oh, it's gonna have to be postponed. She's waited 6 years while I was in Ingolstadt. She can wait a little while longer. It's fine.
Right.
And he's like, if you're gonna do that, you got to tell her to her face. And he calls Elizabeth in, and she comes in and like again, like the Baron is like, what happened to my son, to the boy I raised? And this is another one of those points where like Victor's just kind of standing there, and the lights overhead are like flickering, like he's being called, and so that's why Elizabeth comes in, and she again also tries to stop him, and I think the Baron leaves, and it's just Victor and Elizabeth at this point, and she's like, if you got work to do, I can go with you, like I could help you. And he's like, no, I would have to teach you everything. Like you don't know enough to do it. And she's like, well, tell me what you're gonna do. And he's like, it's outside of your grasp. And she's like,
right. Well, if you told me, I might learn.
Yeah. And he's like, or she says, are you suggesting that I'm less intelligent than you? And he's like, oh yeah,
right.
Yeah. I mean, no,
100%.
Not less intelligent, just less educated. You haven't had the teaching that I've experienced.
And she's like, yeah, because I'm a girl, they won't let me go, asshole.
Yeah, but you could take me, you could train me. And he's like, all right, well, and he lists off all this scientific jargon. And he's like, tell me what this stuff is. And she's like, that doesn't tell anything. Of course I don't know that shit. Like I haven't been to school. But I could learn these things. And he's like,
so she really wants to love him.
Yeah, she is trying so hard to be welcomed into his world. She's like, I want to be your equal. I want to travel with you. I want to talk about your work and about music and politics. And he's like, I only care about one of those. My work is all that matters. I don't know anything about music. I don't care about politics. And she's like, well, do you have any interest in me? And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, of course, you'll be a great wife. It'll be wonderful. And she's like, that doesn't really feel like you're answering the question. Like, do you want children?
Me, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want kids?
And he's like, yeah, children, that's, the whole thing. I'm going to do the whole thing. And she's like, do you want to do the things necessary to make me pregnant? Are you like,
yeah.
And he's like, yeah, of course. And she's like, okay, then come here and kiss me. Show me that you have some kind of passion, some kind of love for me. And so, he does. And it kind of works. She's like, okay, I see, like, yes, there is something there. You're clearly distracted. You clearly have something else that you have to do before we can go forward with this. And if you can't take me, even though I don't understand, okay, go do your thing, be brilliant, be amazing, be the Victor that I love, and then come back and
give me a dozen children.
Yeah. So he says thank you, and this, like, if you want to see a really great example, just the way that the two different Victors say thank you is like miles apart. Jonny Lee Miller as Victor is very much like, okay, you get it, thank you. I do want to be your husband. I do want this. Thank you for trusting me in this moment, and I will be back, and everything's going to be great.
Right.
Whereas the Cumberbatch Victor is just like, okay, finally, you get it. I can go do my thing. Thank you for finally leaving me alone for 5 minutes. It's just 2 words, and it says so much. And we go straight from that to Scotland, where Victor, so we don't get any of Victor in England and his research. We're going straight to the Orkney Isles.
Yep.
And we have like 2 men helping him to the cottage. This is Ewan.
I think his landlord, technically.
Yeah, so Ewan is this older guy. He owns the cottage Victor's going to be staying in. His wife's going to be bringing food out to Victor. And then there's also his nephew that I don't remember if he even gets a name. They're kind of like the comic relief, which, like, at this point in the movie or in the play, whatever, we need it. It's so Ewan kind of gets Victor set up, and there's like this comedic bit where, like, we're going to provide you with food. It'll be a very simple fare. There's not a lot out here, but there won't be much meat, but because unless it swims, we don't eat it. And the nephew's like, but I mean, we eat rice cakes, we eat we eat eggs. Eggs don't swim.
Do you see any eggs around
here? Yeah, like he was like, I'm just saying we don't have beef or mutton out here on this little island. But yeah, it's just really funny. And so then we have them getting set up in the cottage, and Victor's like, thanks for helping me get everything set up. Of course, I've paid you the down payment on the cabin, and I'll pay you more as we go. But I'd be happy to pay you a lot more if you'd help me with one other little thing. And so, of course, they're interested. And, he's like, so my work is in anatomy, and it's looked down upon in certain academic circles.
Right, do a little rectionism.
Yeah. And, of course, the nephew's really nervous, and he's like, I don't know about this. This doesn't sound so good. And Ewan's like, we don't run an academic circle, so let's hear him out. So what you're asking is going to be illegal, I guess? And he's like, yeah. I mean, we're far away from the courts of law, though, right? And science, we keep our secrets.
Yeah.
So yeah, he tells him, I want human remains for my anatomy work. It's I need to do some vivisection to understand the way the body works.
But specifically, I need girls. Bring me girls.
And he's like, has anybody, young died recently? And they're like, yeah, there was this one girl, and it's like, oh, was she really sick? And they're like, no, she drowned. So he's like, okay, that sounds good. Yeah, I would like that. I could use that. So they eventually, like, he kind of, coaxes them with like no one's gonna miss it. The family buried the body. They've done their mourning. I'm not hurting her. I'm doing research. And so they're like, okay, we'll help. So we have the men digging up the body, and Victor arrives right as they like finish. And he's like, this is just the first. I need this whole body, but I'm going to need a regular supply of internal organs and other bits and pieces. And again, the nephew's like, I don't like the sound of that. And Ewan's like, organs. It's what we feed the dogs. It's fine. It doesn't matter. And the whole then we cut, or we see that the creature has been here in the background watching this whole scene take place in the graveyard.
Right. Is that what my wife's going to be made out of? Just like bits for the dogs?
Yeah. This is how I was formed, stolen from wet soil. But he's like, even if I'm the same thing as her, am I going to be able to love her, or am I going to be disgusted by her? Like, right. Will I want her stinking of death? Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's starting to even feel some second thoughts about this. And we have like a little later, Ewan brings in like sacks of organs, presumably, and just like plops them down on the floor. And Victor's like, I think that's the last I'm going to need. My work is nearly done here. And Ewan's like, did we do good, sir? Has your food and your board, everything been up to par, everything that you could need? And Victor's like, yes, thank you. I could not have done this without you. So Ewan leaves.
By the way, Victor's drinking, I'm assuming, laudanum.
Yeah, he's like shooting from this little bottle. Mm-hmm. And we see in the background another sort of like womb-like pod, and silhouetted behind it, a female form.
Right.
But before we can see what's going to happen with that, we have like violins screeching and lightning striking with the lights overhead. Everything's looking, intense and scary. And then William steps out of one of the bags of organs. Right. This is sort of like the ghost of William, or a hallucination of William, that Victor is kind of dealing with his guilt through this. And we get this whole conversation where Victor is sort of trying to justify his work to the person who was murdered by his first creation. Him trying to be like, well, this one's going to be different. This is going to be better.
Right. And it's almost like his conscience, right? He's like, are you sure? Are you 100% certain this one will actually be better? Or are you making a race of creatures that are going to destroy humanity?
Yeah. And, Victor is trying to justify it. He's like, but like the spark of life comes from God. And if I can do it, then can a man be a god? And, I've traveled where no man has before. I've created people, and I breathe the breath of God. Like he's getting into the mad science thing. And yeah, he's like, is this new one going to be better? Or if they have children, will they be your slaves, or will they be?
Will you be their king? Right.
Yeah. Are you going to unleash a bunch of little killers on the world who are going to be like the one that killed me?
Yeah.
And this is when the creature bursts in, and the William ghost kind of just runs away. And so now we have another sort of confrontation between our two main characters here.
Right. Where's my wife?
Yeah, I want to see her. And I thought this was kind of a really sort of interesting way that they handle this. So Victor's like, okay, hold on, so he goes behind the curtain thing, and we see him silhouetted, like detaching this female creature from the whatever bonds she's attached to.
Right.
And she comes out, and she's like sort of alive, but sort of not. Like she doesn't have a soul. She seems like an automaton. Like Victor's able to kind of move her around and pose her, and she's just kind of frozen in place.
Right. Or do you think she's meant to be like completely inert, but actress is there? And yeah,
it gives us a way to kind of like have the creature interact with his bride,
right,
but her not be finished, quote unquote.
Right.
And so this is the same actress who was the scarred up, bald, interpretive dancer from earlier.
Right. But
now she's very different.
Well, she's also scarred up, but in a very sensual way.
Yeah,
she's hot.
Before.
She's hot.
Before we were really focusing on her like monstrousness. She was, in ragged clothes, and shaved head and scarred, but now she has long flowing hair. She's just in like a little tiny like bikini bottom. She's topless. So she's a beautiful woman with just a few scars on her.
But this seems more like this was Victor's perfect woman versus the creature.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But of course, the creature is still in awe. He's like, she is beautiful.
Right.
And, Victor's like, I agree. She'd be a perfect wife, but I don't think I can give her to you.
Why?
And he's like, I can't trust what she might become. Like, I haven't given her life. And
she might reject you.
Yeah. And the monster's like, well, I rose above my origins, and so will she. Like, I will teach her the same way that I was taught.
Right. Now, once again, as the Jonny Lee Miller, very childish. Like, oh, I'm gonna make her love me because I'm gonna love her so much that she just won't help. She can't help it but love me back. It's like, it doesn't work that way, bro.
Yeah, Victor's like, use your brain. She might reject you. She's not taking part in this bargain of ours.
Right. Or better yet, what if she finds somebody she likes more?
Yeah, she might prefer to live with a man rather than a monster. Victor goes over and compliments her, and he's like, look at her appearance. Look at those lips, those breasts.
Yeah, I did some good work here.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to be with her? He kisses her, like Victor does.
Yeah.
Or the Jonny Lee Miller Victor kisses her. The
Right.
Cumberbatch one doesn't, because he's not interested in these things, And he's like, and how are you going to feel if she rejects you? If the only one of your species rejects you, what are you going to do then? And he's like, I will run mad over all of mankind if she turns away from me. And, of course, Victor's like, well, why would I risk that then? Like, I'm not going to...
But she won't, because I'm going to dress her in the finest silks and, I'm just going to shower her with love and affection.
Yeah, and I will love her with my whole soul. I'm capable of love, and so she will be as well.
Right. And there's that soul word again. It's like, you have a soul.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well.
And Victor's like, okay, so you think you know how to love? What does it mean to be in love? And we get this great speech of like, it feels like all the life is bubbling up within me and spilling from my mouth, and I feel like my lungs are on fire, and my heart is a hammer, and I can do anything in the world.
Right.
And the creature is just like on his knees begging, just like, please, I will cherish her forever. And it seems like Victor kind of has a change of heart with that, and he's like, okay, that's what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear from you what it means to love, and see that I believed you, and I do. I think you really are capable of love, and you really do love her. So okay,
which makes the next part just so much of a fuck you.
It's brutal. He's like, okay, there's a trunk over there. There's
Those
some of
are
Elizabeth's clothes in there. Yeah. Find something that you think is perfect for her, and I'll go revive her while you do it.
Yeah.
And so he goes back behind. He takes her behind the curtain, and the creature goes on about, I'm going to put her in pearls and silks and all this. And then he opens the chest, and inside it's just journals. There's no clothes. And he's like, wait, what? And he turns back, and silhouetted there, we see Victor slicing the bride.
Yeah, we see
blood splatter. Yeah, and like
she lets out a little scream, which is not great. It's like, oh no.
Yeah, so we know that this was all he was fooling her,
lying to the creature.
Yeah, and so at that point, the creature turns the thing around, and we see the bride hanging there dead. And Victor is yelling like, "What do you know of love? It's irrational and it's volatile and uncontrollable. Right. I'm not turning your love loose on the world."
Right. Where with the Cumberbatch one, that seems more of a like, fuck you for having love that I don't know what it is. And with Miller, it's like, no, I honestly think you would be like a destructive force with your love.
Yeah. It feels like he's like, I know what could happen there, and I don't trust it. Like, I know love, and I know how wild and untamed it can be.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's again very different. But the creature, falls to the ground next to his, bride as she's bleeding out. And, he's just screaming and crying, and then suddenly there's like a pounding on the door, and someone outside is calling for Victor, and the monster is like, "You broke your word. You may expect me again," and he runs away.
Oh no, he didn't say the thing, "I'll be with you on your wedding night." Oh no.
Yeah, he does it in this.
No, but Dad comes in and he's like, "All right, what's up? what are you doing in here, buddy?"
Yeah, and it's chaos. So it's the father, it's Ewan, and it's another guy who I think is like a constable or something.
Right.
But they break in, they find there's the dead bride on the ground, blood everywhere, and Victor's in a panic, and he's just like,
"We're done with all this nonsense. You're coming home. You're getting married to Elizabeth, and that'll be that."
Yeah, and Victor is like, "Just here's my journals. Just destroy them. Just promise me you'll destroy everything in here. None of this can ever be seen by anyone else." And I will go back and marry Elizabeth. So they leave.
I love how the cop's going to cop and be like, work for the rich people and be like, "Well, this looks awful." Covers it up with a sheet.
Yeah, and he's like, he says to you, like, he just lets them, like, Victor and the Baron leave, and he says to Ewan, like, what was going on here? And Ewan's like, I mean, you heard him, the medical research. And he's like, medical research. Holy Christ. And he just like covers up the body, and then we get bells again. But this time they're wedding bells.
Aw. Yes, it's the wife of Frankenstein now. Or the bride, as some would say.
Yeah. So we have like a bunch of revelers singing this song about the house of Frankenstein, following Elizabeth and Clarice to Elizabeth's room, and they like close the door on the revelers, like the carolers, like we want some privacy,
right?
And Elizabeth's like, "Help me to be beautiful. Maybe if I'm beautiful enough, Victor will." And she just kind of maybe he will. And Clarice is like, "I'm sure he will." Like and she's
we
like,
also get the joke about Clarice's husband putting a bag over her head when they first got together, or wanting to.
Yeah, she's like, "Yeah, I'm sure Victor's having he's getting a little liquid courage. He's having a few drinks, but if he's anything like my husband." But yeah, then she just it's weird. She just kind of like pauses thoughtfully and is like, "I'm sure he'd put a bag over my head if he could." Like, but she's really trying to comfort Elizabeth that like, "Oh, Victor's different. He cares about you. It's going to be great." Like, but that's when two soldiers and Victor burst into the room, and he's like, "All right, men, report." Like in the middle of Elizabeth's room, and they're like, "Well, we've got the doors sealed, and there's men out here and everything." And he's like, "All right, well, I'll join you presently." And so the soldiers leave, and Elizabeth's like, "What is going on? This is our wedding. Why are there soldiers? Why are you? What is happening?"
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to tell you that. I didn't tell you this, but your bait. I'm trying to bring my creature here to kill it.
Yeah, he's really forthright here. Like, this is, usually Victor is kind of like dodgy still, but he's like, "Yep, I made a guy. He's mad. I'm trying to kill him because I know he wants to kill me and you." And so, we're this whole night, it's going to be kind of messy, but like once I kill him, everything will be fine.
Right. And she's like, "Wait, you made a guy? you just built the dude?"
Yeah, and so the wedding was did you invite him?
Right, he wasn't on the
guest list.
I know, that was such a good line from her. And he's like, "I'll be serious about this, Elizabeth. Come on."
Yeah, "I have beaten death. This is important." And she's like, "If you wanted to create life, why didn't we get married months ago? You could have knocked me up. We could have had life the normal way, like everybody else." And he's like, No, I'm talking about science." And she's like, "You're talking about pride."
Yeah, nailed it.
This is something else. And he's like, okay, I've made some bad choices. I have found paradise, but it's a little late. The apple's eaten. The sin has happened, and Elizabeth's mad. She's like, "So you've put me in danger because you worshipped the gods of electricity and gas." Yeah. So
he's like, "Well, yeah, of course."
Yeah, but he's like, "Just trust me. I'm going to deal with it. After today, everything will be okay." And he rushes out, and then Elizabeth starts to pray. And this scene was really great. Like this whole scene is taking place in Elizabeth's bedroom, and as soon as Victor's gone and she starts praying, the creature erupts out of the bed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly how they did this, because as soon as he's out, the bed is flat again. Like it's almost like they've like cut out a shape of a man in the mattress, and then the sheets are like springy enough that when he leaps out, it just goes flat again. It's really well done. Like it just like he comes out of nowhere and doesn't leave any trace that he was there. But of course, he grabs her, covers her mouth, and he's like, "Can you guess who I am?" And she's kind of nods, and he's like, "Okay, so Victor told you, but he didn't mention what I look like, did he?"
Right. Of course
not.
Like
if you stay calm, don't scream.
I promise I won't hurt you.
Yeah. So he releases her, and she's amazed. She's like, "Victor made you?" And he's like, yeah, this is, so she's like, wow, he's really, really something. Like, this is genius what he's accomplished. And she's like, well, what's your name? And he's like, that's a luxury Victor didn't give me. I don't have one.
Oh, no.
So, and he's like, but look what he did. Like, he takes her hand and he puts it on his face and on his heart. And he's like, do you feel the warmth and the heartbeat? And she's like, yes, and he's like, it's just like yours. And he puts his hand on her chest.
We will have none of that.
Yeah, none of that now. So he's like, okay. So I just need to talk to Victor. I have a grievance. He didn't keep his word. He abandoned me as his deformed child. And I just want to talk to him. I want to plead my case one more time.
And at this point, she's like, "All right, I'll be your friend. We'll talk. It'll be good. We'll be good. We can smooth this over."
And he's like, "Okay, yeah, I'd like that. Have a seat here." And they sit down on the bed, and he's like, I've learned a lot in my time here. I know right from wrong.
They also talk about how great Victor is and how smart he is.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, I've learned from men. I've learned how to ruin. I've learned how to hate, to debase, and to humiliate. And from Victor especially, I learned the most important thing: how to lie.
What? What? What?
Yeah. What do you mean? And he's like, well, so
he broke
tonight,
promise to me.
Yeah, tonight I met somebody perfect, and thank you for trying to understand me. But Victor broke his promise, and now I got to break mine. Mm-hmm. And like he seems genuinely apologetic here. I'm sorry that I have to do this.
Right.
And yeah, she calls out to Victor as he grabs her and throws her on the bed. We in both versions, sometimes the camera angles and shots are a little different between the two versions, but here the camera goes up above the bed as we see Victor, or as we see the monster, jump on top of Elizabeth and overpower her. And then it kind of like the camera fades to black, and then we suddenly come back, and Victor is there with a gun, and the monster's like, please kill me. Shoot.
Well,
like,
also, though, the monster's on top of Elizabeth, and it's implied things happened.
Yeah, it's kind of implied, and then here in a little bit, it will become
confirmed,
less implied and a little more explicit.
Yeah.
But Victor can't bring himself to kill his creation. And the monster jumps out the window and runs away. And this is when like Clarice comes in, and then the soldiers come in, and Victor's in a panic, and he's like, just get Elizabeth back to my room. I can fix this. I know how to. Yeah, I know how to resurrect the dead. And Clarice and the Baron come in, and they're like, no, you can't. Like, she's blasphemous.
Dead. Yeah,
she's dead.
Yeah, you can't unbreak dead. He's like, well, I can, but they're like, no, we're burying Elizabeth.
Yeah, so, the Baron is upset that Victor's even considering such a thing, and he's like, what have I done bringing you into this world?
Right. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Maybe the father wasn't such a good dad anyway. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, so it's, things have gotten really intense here. We have, like, the stage rotates again here, and we have the creature by himself, alone in the dark. Mm-hmm. And so, like, the Castle Frankenstein is kind of in the background, and the creature's like, my heart is black.
And it stinks.
So we get a timeline here. Like, 3 years ago, I was born, and I laughed for joy at the sun, and I cried at the call of birds. But now everything is frost and ruin and snow. And everything is a waste. He's like, I've led Victor across the Black Sea, ever northward. We're headed towards the poles. So we've kind of jumped in time a little bit. We've kind of, we're on that pursuit at the very end now, and he says, Victor's dogs are dead. He's starved, but, we're locked in now. This is the last thing either of us is going to do.
This is either the end game or maybe not so much. But Frankenstein, come. Are you cold? Do you feel forsaken in this wasteland? What a hell of a line.
Yeah, and he brings him a plate, and he's like, here's some seal meat to keep you going.
The explorer's meal, right?
Yeah. And, Victor, or like, he's kind of taunting him, and Victor's like, but you killed my wife. And he's like, yeah, you killed mine first.
Right? You gotta.
Yeah.
Quid pro quo, my friend, just in the bad way. He's like, but yeah, no, here, we're playing a game now, Dad. I'm gonna keep you going, so you just keep hating me.
Yeah. And, but Victor's like, but you brought all this on yourself. And he's like, how? I didn't ask to be created. I didn't ask to look like this. Why does everyone hate me? None of that had anything to do with me. The only person who ever showed me pity was Elizabeth.
I felt her warm lips and her warm thighs.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, yeah. So here, I mean, again, like, it's pretty explicit, but it also, this could just be him taunting Victor.
Could be.
Like, it's either way.
It definitely didn't look like taunting, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is taunting, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, the reality of it almost doesn't matter anymore. It's about them here, and
right.
But Victor is so weak. He's like trying to grab at the monster, but he can't do anything. And the monster like hops up and he's like, "Come on, let's go. We're almost to the pole. Let's make some discoveries together. You love science,
right?" And it's like Victor has died almost.
Yeah, he's just kind of like fallen over, and that's when the creature kind of like realizes, and he's like, please wake up, like, don't leave me.
Pours him wine. He's like, you got to drink something, man. Come on, drink something, eat something, do something.
Yeah, when you go, I must go too.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what is death? What will it feel like? Can I even die?
Right.
Yeah.
Forgive me my cruelty.
Yeah, and he's like pouring the wine and like up against his mouth. It's just like running down Victor's face.
So in a dark way, this is like, oh, Dad's finally cares about me, which is, it's like, oh, you could have avoided all this just by giving a shit way earlier on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then this is Victor does wake up, and like kind of coughs, and he's like, oh, you do love me. And Victor's like, I don't even know what love is.
Right. I only know hate for you.
Yeah. And the creature's like, I will teach you. I will.
Right.
Give
me purpose.
Yeah. And Victor's like, no, it's too late. Every chance I had of love, I threw it away. Every shed of human warmth, I cut to pieces.
Yeah.
You're all that I have left. You're my only purpose is to destroy you.
Right.
So go on, walk on, and I will follow after you.
Right. The merry chase goes on, and the monsters in both versions is pretty happy. He's like, whatever. It works, I guess. So
yeah, he's like, come on, come destroy your creation.
Right.
And we get this, like, the stage kind of rotates.
We see this white light through a doorway.
This like blindingly bright white light. And the monster walks into the light as Victor follows after him, just until they disappear because it's so bright.
Right.
And then the stage goes dark and we hear like a heartbeat, and that's how it ends.
Yep. I mean, honestly, how else could it end, right? I mean, we don't have a Walpole, or not Walpole, Walton. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, but so yeah, makes sense. I mean, he finally got the attention he needed from his father the entire time. Congratulations. Victor,
yeah, and it's a really great ending in that, like, it's sort of the opposite of the novel, but they're not lost in darkness and distance. They will go into the light
together.
Yeah, but it's like, is the light death, or is the light just that they continued on in their journey, and who knows? Like,
right.
It's a mystery. Like, who knows what's next for them?
Right.
I guess that's
right.
Yeah, it's sort of true either way. Whether they live or whether they die, we don't know what comes next.
Yeah, they still go on into eternity, whatever whatever that is.
Yeah. So it's a really, really powerful ending. And yeah, it does sort of like, without having Walton and having the ship and all that, it still sort of achieves the same ends. It was really, really well done. Like, just a great way to end it.
Yeah, both versions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously we liked it. There's no denying that. Choose your version. They're both good, and they both have their own little flares to them, as we mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. It's totally worth checking both of them out. So I know, like, I think I bought these from the National Theater, like, during COVID. They did, like, as a fundraiser, they released the videos. So I'm not sure in what way they are available now. They may even be on YouTube. I haven't checked, but, like, I know this was one of those things, like, a lot of places were doing this. Theater is suffering because nobody can go out. This is when they released Hamilton to HBO Max or Disney Plus or whatever. And yeah, so they kind of did the same thing here. But
I think that was smart, because a lot of people have discovered, like, the love of theater that was kind of latent.
Yeah.
But also,
it's
can I get on my soapbox, Anthony, real quick?
Yeah, please.
It's also the fact that theater finally is trying to meet people where they live, instead of being like, no, you have to come here. Like, and also, it's modernizing, which is good. That's not a bad thing. That's how you stay alive, is by adapting and changing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's theater has been such a tricky art form. It doesn't have the longevity. Like, if it's not filmed, then it's only witnessed by the people who saw it.
Right.
And there's something beautiful about that too. There's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but there are certain people who are, if you live where we do in the Midwest, like, you're never going to see a Broadway play, or, some people travel and stuff, but, like, most of us are not going to go see it.
It's not likely to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
And, occasionally those Broadway plays will go do little traveling tours, but, it's still hard for people to get out and see those. So it is nice. It's kind of like, democratizes theater for the masses.
Right.
So, I appreciate that. And, certainly, like, this only played in England. There was no way I was ever going to get to see this. And it's such a work of art. I'm so glad that it is preserved, and that, like, more people can see it, because it's truly incredible. We didn't even say, like, so this is directed by Danny Boyle, who is, like, mostly known for his film
usually
work, like
gangster films, basically British gangster films specifically.
Yeah, and he's done a ton of stuff.
28 Days Later, right?
Yeah, 28 Days Later, and I think he may have even done the recent one, the new one, but, like, Train Spotting, and Slumdog Millionaire. This guy does all kinds of stuff. Like, just a really great director, and I mean, clearly it shows. Like, this is fantastic work here. I'm not sure, like, he directed it as a play. I assume he directed the sort of, like, film version of it. Like, he's still the only, like, credited director on the, as the credits roll at the end of this.
Right.
But yeah, it's really, really impressive work.
Yeah. From everybody involved, so good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely, if you can track this down anyway, absolutely do so. It is absolutely worth your time.
Yep, both versions, once again.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, well, do we have anything else to say about it, Anthony?
I think that's it.
Perfect. Well, aside from that, we went to the theater, we got our cultural education, but how about we get a higher education? And let's go back to college with Frankenstein, The College Years.
Yeah, this one's, another, like, an older one that's I think it's a little comedy-ish.
90s.
Yeah. So I'm excited to get to this one. It's another one that I've not seen. Obviously going to be very different in tone than what we just had, but it looks like a lot of fun, so I'm excited to check this out.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready to go digging through the garbage on this one.
Yeah.
All right, well, anything else to say about this?
I think that's it.
All right, Anthony, you've made an announcement, but how about you make it again?
Yeah, so last week, or I guess last week, when as of recording this, the book has been officially announced. We've got the Kickstarter is
Give
live.
us full title.
It's called Bride of Frankenstein. I'm focusing on Bride of Frankenstein. The publisher Die Books has announced the full slate. So I am alongside books about Paranormal Activity, the Amityville Horror, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and Necromantic 2.
Oh boy!
So a wide range of stuff.
Definitely
there.
high. Yeah. Definitely high art with that one.
Yeah, and they all sound really interesting. I've been reading up on the summaries and stuff. I'm just really looking forward to all these books coming out, and especially looking forward to sharing mine with the world. I've been working on it for a while, and it's going to be nice to kind of let you all experience it. So if you can, I'll include the links in the show notes. But if you go to Kickstarter and search for Die Books, you can find it there, and we'd love you can. It's like a Kickstarter program, but it's like a pre-order. You can pre-order mine. You can pre-order all 5. Do whatever you want. There's ebooks and real books, and I would just love for you all to read it. So I'm really excited that it will soon be in the world.
Heck yeah. All right, well, aside from that, where else can they find us at?
Yeah, so you can also still find us on all the socials at The Frankencast. You can email us at thefrankencast@gmail.com. We're also over on YouTube. And, of course, you can find us at patreon.com/thefrankencast, where there's all kinds of new stuff. In fact, months and months ago, I teased that this book was going to happen. So if you're on Patreon, you've known about this for a while. We do a lot of kind of different stuff over there, so we'd love to have you. And, there's plenty of bonus material over there.
Heck yeah, 100%. All right, well, anything else to be said?
I think that's it.
All right, well, thank you once again, and to be continued.
Looks like you survived another episode. The Frankencast is a production of FCR Media. It's hosted by Anthony Bowman and Eric Velasquez. Follow us on Twitter at The Frankencast, or send us a letter at thefrankencast@gmail.com. Our cover art is by Amanda Keller. You can find her at Keller Illustrations on Instagram. Our theme music is by Vivek Abhishek. Thanks for listening.